episode of the Relevant Recruiter Show. Today, we are going to talk about why content isn't enough and why it's actually keeping you stuck. And this is going to be a pretty cool show today. I've got my partner, Alexis, with me today from my Aura marketing business. And I'm going to kind of interview her today and have her walk you through the importance and kind of bust a myth that we both really believe in. And I think if have been creating content, haven't seen the results from it, I think you're really going to enjoy, what we bring to the table today. I think it's going to help you, connect some dots that can help you kind of push it over the edge with some of your efforts. So for those of you that are with us right now, if you can just go ahead and give us a like, let us know that you can hear us, or go in the chat, let us know that we're good to go. We are going to get started today. Just a reminder that this is an actual, formally, I guess, a podcast, we'd call it. But you can find this after we go live here. These episodes are all recorded. They're on all major podcast channels, Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, etc., as well as it's on my YouTube channel where you can watch it live video. So, Alexis, thank you for being here with me today. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here with you.
Awesome. So let's, I'm going to pull up my screen here so we can get some interaction, see if anybody's going to play with us today. But I really wanted to dive in and just kind of get started with, what do you think, or can you share with our audience, the main misconception about content creation and it being enough to really grow your business and generate inbound leads?
Yeah. Okay. So I think that like most people nowadays will acknowledge that like in order to business, they need to create some type of content. And we talk about that all the time in our business. People hear about it all the time. There's so many trainings about content creation. And I think that where the big disconnect is that content creation itself is not marketing. And in order to grow your brand, scale your business, whether or not you even know exactly what levels you want to scale it to, you have to market your brand. And people think that creating content is marketing. And that's really where the gap is. So I think that some people think content creation is reposting, resharing, just commenting, posting a random thought, what they did over the weekend. I mean, if they're really trying, right, to like get into some of those personal things, like here's what I did over the weekend, or putting together like a random poll, asking an audience, asking their audience, like just questions that maybe aren't necessarily intentional and maybe are not strategic. But again, the misconception is that I'm doing all the things, I'm creating the content. Why isn't this sticking or working? And so I think that that's one of the biggest gaps, is that people think checking the box of content is doing what they need to do in order to market their business. A content creation alone is not marketing.
So content creation alone isn't marketing. And we've talked a lot about how we see a lot of people that you can tell their approach is like just checking that box. Okay, I did my post today, I did my share today, whatever it ultimately ends up. So What is the actual solution then? What should we be aiming for?
Right. So the gap really between those things is between content and marketing. But in order to effectively market your brand and stand out in this culture, so in this day and age where humans want to be connected with humans, I mean, we have every platform under the sun that ultimately the goal is for humans to connect with humans and be social, hence all of these social networks. And like, that's not going away. Like those things are just continually ramped up, right? So in order to market yourself in the digital age of social connection, you really have to build a personal brand, which absolutely markets your brand, but does it in a way where you're connecting with other humans. So really what you need is not content creation alone. You need a personal brand and then know how to market that personal brand in order to grow your business.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And this is something that you and I have been talking a lot about, is helping people really understand that difference of just creating content versus personal branding. I mean, why do you think people overlook the importance of personal branding?
Well, I know why they overlook it. Yeah, I mean, we talk with people all the time, and we both have been working in the personal brand world for a long time. So I think that number one is people are stuck in like old school ways of marketing, and whether or not they're no matter their own age, whether it's just resistance to a new thing, I think that it's common to think that like I'm just going to stick with what I know and do what I do because that's a lot easier of a route, and it worked for the guy that onboarded me, or it worked for whoever it was. Number two, and I think that this is the biggest hesitation, and we hear it from every single person, is it's vulnerable. Like
Right.
building your personal brand, no matter who you are, what you do, how experienced you are, how much money you make, no matter how much gender, how attractive, unattractive, all the things, it requires a level of vulnerability. And I don't care how confident you are. I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's a level of exposure and putting yourself out there that as humans is uncomfortable. We have fear of judgment, fear of so many things. But so
Right.
I think that that's really the number one reason. The third thing is I think that when people think of a personal brand, they think that means they're a content creator, or like maybe even like influencer in a way, where they like have to share all these things and they're putting themselves out there, and that's what you need to do. That's not what a personal brand is. A personal brand is super strategic. Like you're sharing things about you that are authentic, that would connect with your ideal audience. That does not mean everything in your life. So it's not about sharing your kids and like your family if that's not what's comfortable to you. So I think
Right.
that there's like a level I think has to be like all in or not. But those are the three things that I think are the main reasons why people don't build their personal brands. Would you add anything to that in your
No,
experience?
I think I would just validate that. I mean, that's what I've gone through with my own personal journey of building my personal brand. And I think the biggest thing that I've had to overcome is the limiting beliefs and busting through the fear of rejection or anything else that's kind of holding me back. So, I mean, it really just hits home to me of, it's the reason why a lot of people don't do it is because there's a level of fear, of, like you're saying, a level of vulnerability that comes along with it that I've certainly experienced, and I don't want to say continue to experience, but continue to work through and overcome. I think that's something that anybody that's really putting themselves out there, it's kind of comes with the business. So Edwin, thank you for being here today. Charlotte, you as well. If you guys are finding value in this, if you guys can go like this, that'll help us reach more people. But just to continue down this track, and if you guys have any questions as Alexis and I go through this, feel free to drop them in there. Would love to make this more interactive. So personal branding now. So we know that content's not enough. Personal branding ultimately is the solution. It's critical to attracting and engaging with our target audience. It's critical to generating inbound leads. So how would you define someone's personal brand? Like, what are some of the key elements that contribute to a strong brand?
Mm-hmm. So I think I kind of go back to three fundamentals when I work with clients to build their brands. I think of who you are, what you do, and how you do it. So the who you are piece is aspects about yourself, and it's not, I think that again, misconception about this is just sharing things just about yourself, which I think that that's important. But some of that is sharing who you are through what you do, right? So it may be like talking or expressing the values or like the way you deal with human connection, right? So it's really the who you are. And I do think that there are some elements about your values, your interests, your lifestyle that are worthwhile sharing. What you do, like what is it that you do, like what is your process, who do you serve, and then how you do it. I think this is where we talk about unique differentiators,
Right.
your key values, like how is your process different, like how is what you do important to your whole process as a whole. So when I think of a personal brand, I like to break it down to those few things: who you are, what you do, how you do it.
Yeah. And I think, kind of going into the next thing, one of the most powerful elements of the personal brand, really involves, the one who has the personal brand clearly identifying their audience, who they're trying to build their personal brand for. And then from there, packaging up, a differentiator, a unique selling proposition, whatever you want to call that, I think is critically important, because I think one of the things that's helped me be successful is I talk specifically to the same audience every single day. I talk to independent recruiters and boutique recruiting agency owners and individuals within those companies. And people, that's what people know me for. That's my audience. And my audience knows me for, my ability to help with inbound lead generation, automation, and personal branding. So, I think for you, well, the first foundational element is if you're looking at, well, what are the steps you want to take? Having a clear target audience and then really differentiating yourself is key, because, and we're going to get into this pretty heavily here, but one of the biggest things, and Alexis has already kind of hit on, like, personal branding is not self-promotion. Personal branding is putting yourself out into the marketplace and kind of positioning yourself as a problem solver, a solution to the challenges that, in our world over here, that hiring decision makers or candidates might be facing. And creating content and driving a brand is about, meaningful relationships. So once you have, a clear audience and a clear target market, then actually everything becomes easier. You can speak to their pains, their problems, their frustrations, the desires that they're after. And you can really build, a brand that showcases your ability to help them. So going back into this is like, in your opinion, Alexis, how can you engage with your audience in a genuine way to foster connections that ultimately lead to inbound leads? What types of content or strategies can help us position ourselves as authorities in our industries?
Yeah. So this is where we get effective with our marketing, right? This is where content actually becomes marketing, not just content, because we want to position your brand. And so we really work with our clients, and we have advised our clients to position their brand in a way that does three things. We want them to serve their audience, we want them to lead their audience, and we want them to connect with their audience. So if we're looking at how to market your personal brand in order to grow your business for like your next level and then beyond, we really want to create marketable content that does those things. I think the first thing too, if I'm going to back it up a little bit, is you have to outline your objectives. Like, what are your current objectives? Marketing is not effective marketing if you are not thinking about the objectives that you have and what it is that you are trying to do. So you have to outline what it is that you want. Are you trying to get more clients? Are you trying to attract more candidates? Like, what is it? Who are those people? So always, I know you touched on that, always be thinking about your target audience when you're creating content. So the first pillar that I think that you need to do to make sure that the content you need to create in this pillar to make sure that you're doing to build your personal brand is lead. We want you to be seen, and we want your audience to see you as a trusted authority. We want them to have trust in your ability to support them and help them with their problems. So thinking about, number one, what are their problems? And like, how do you solve that? And how can you demonstrate that to your audience? So this is like showing success stories. This is thought leadership in the industry. This is coming in with like your leadership value in order to guide your target market. So that's like our first pillar. Do you want to add any different ideas for lead that you have?
No, I mean, I think you hit you nail on the head. I think the way I like to explain the leadership is just the ability to establish myself as being that ultimate, leader to solve the problem that you have, within your industry. And a lot of that comes with showcasing and demonstrating success. And one of the things that, I've learned over the years, and one of the things that I struggled with early on with my own personal brand is, well, why would you listen to me? And that's where being able to demonstrate and showcase your success solves that question 99% of the time. Well, you should listen to me because I have a track record of helping, several hundred recruiters do something like this, for example, right? And so for your case, if you're a recruiter, then you want to showcase and lead your audience to demonstrate the success so that they can start to listen, and they know that you are a credible person that should be listened to. So yeah, I think that's the key important element of that leadership pillar.
Yeah. The next pillar, and I'm always trying to like feel like I'm picking a favorite child, but I love the serve pillar. And the reason why I love the serve pillar is, I don't know about you, and I don't know about any of you listening, but I think that so many people have a hard time selling. They feel like they're selling, or feel like they sound salesy, or it's inauthentic. And I always feel like if you shift that perspective to serving, not just selling, and like, how do you actually supporting the people that your audience, it's such a game changer. So this pillar is all about serving your audience. What type of value can you give them? How can you support them in their hiring process? How can you help them in retaining top talent? What ways can you support them in building company culture? How can you support the candidates right now that are in search of a job and that are feeling really, really frustrated? What value can you give them? When you show up with this authentic goodwill and authentic way to support your audience, you're really able to, it does build your authority too. Like all of these things internetwork and play into each other, but it really, really is a great way to showcase who you are and the way that you do it. You want to add anything to the serve pillar?
Well, I mean, I talked about this in my training last week. That you can find that on the YouTube channel or the podcast, but it was, stop selling and start educating. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because you can capture more attention that way. There's way more attention to be had out there when you have more of an educational approach versus a sales approach. And that's really important in a market like this. If you're going out and you're just trying to do transactional things when there's less job orders to go around, the reason why people aren't responding is because you're trying to sell something that somebody's not in the market for. When I start to educate, now I can capture more attention. I think that's what that serve pillar really allows us to do. And so sometimes, the tactical person is thinking, well, I just need to sell. I need to sell my services right now. I need to sell my services. But if you're educating, you're actually gaining a lot of interest to be able to sell your services. When you're educating and you're helping, a business owner or a hiring leader or somebody actually solve a problem or solve a challenge, they immediately start to see you as an authority in their eyes. And when you start getting business from people like that, then that's going to be your best opportunity. So the serve pillar is critically important to really showcase your goodwill and really educate rather than constantly selling. I love that you brought up that point, Alexis.
Absolutely. I have to say, Charlotte, I love this comment. Charlotte said, seek to serve, not sell, the sale will come. I love that. It's such a distinguishing point because I am, as someone who's in marketing, I hate the idea of like attraction marketing where like you just put yourself out there and it'll come. Like that's not marketing. Like there's no strategy to that. But if you serve, if you're being intentional about what you're doing with authentic to serve, I do, those sales will come if you're really doing the work to be effective in that way. And I love just that kind of distinction there. Junia, you asked, should I focus the branding on me as a solo recruiter or as a company? Thanks. Donnie, answer this one. You're really good at answering this for our clients.
Yeah, I think, ultimately, Junia, it's a little bit of both, but if you're just starting out, 100% your personal brand. People are going to buy into you more than they're going to buy into a logo, I think is the way you want to think about it. But more importantly, like the tools that are at your disposal today now are going to actually be much better for you to be able to grow your personal brand faster than your company brand. That's my opinion. I help people do this pretty much every single day. And Aura Marketing that Alexis and I have is kind of my first real brand outside of Donnie Gupton. So, I would say, really focusing on all in on yourself and a part of that. And again, a lot of context missing here, but if you are an independent recruiter on your own, you are the business, you are the face, and people are going to buy into you more than they're going to buy into a nice creative logo. So that's my 2 cents on it.
I just want to I want to add one more metaphor to that, if I may. Like if you think about like a house, like your house and the way you decorate the house, and like each room is an entity of the whole of a business. You don't just focus on the outside of the house, right? To attract people. Like you want to make a space that's nice, that formulates the whole entity, right? So like you want to make sure like your room is decorated well and is nice, and you're putting effort into each of those places that people may be spending time into that feeds the whole. So I think that when you build your personal brand, and hopefully the other people in the company are too, it does in turn feed the whole. So I just want to add that as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that last pillar.
Yes. Last pillar, connect. So this is like my other favorite child is connect. And this is really the way that you express who you are to your audience. So this is things that, again, you have to work out what this is for you in a way, what you're comfortable with. But ultimately, we're showing people who you are underneath what you do. We're showing part of your values, the way in which you function your business, but like what that demonstrates about you as an individual and as a personal brand underneath those things. And you know, if like honesty and integrity are like the core tenets of your business and the way you function, I want to know like why, how. Like everybody can like throw out these words like I deal with honest and integrity and I value humans first, and like I can name all these things, right? Those things don't stick.
Right.
What sticks is how did you get there? Like tell me a little bit more about who was it that taught you that? Did you have a challenging experience that helped formulate that? Those are the things, and I mean, this is like statistically, scientifically proven that people remember way more than the other things. And so they build connection points. There are these sticking points that people remember those things first. And if they're looking at a bunch of different recruiters or a bunch of different companies, these are the things that actually ping and people remember and allow them to then go dive deeper into you as a business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, authenticity, authenticity, authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the connection piece really is the game changer, because, you know, you look at ChatGPT, for example, as one AI tool that's out there, and you can see people creating LinkedIn content now that's cringe, where they're just copy and pasting ChatGPT. Yeah. And that kind of goes back into the whole point of like content's not enough. And if you look at all the personal brands that, you know, we all follow, you usually know something about who they are, you know, personally. What are their motive? What motivates them? Why do they drive them? Like Alexis was saying, what is integrity? That's a loaded word. That's just a nice fluff, you know, word that everybody has. Well, sharing a story about, you know, integrity, but, you know, with all of the noise that's going to come around you and your brand creation and all the other, you know, content that's going to be out there, this is a critical pillar to really humanize the brand and get you to be viewed as being way more authentic. You know, now you're not just somebody who's adding value, serving your market and leading your market, which a lot of people can do. You know, this component is critical to truly just be like, yeah, you know what, I like that human being. You know, it's not overthinking. Like, I like this person for just because of who they are. And it's incredibly powerful. It's impacted me a ton. Mm-hmm. And if we're talking tactical on a platform like LinkedIn, usually, as much as people don't want to hear it, like personal stuff goes pretty far. People like that if you're doing it the right way, where you're telling and infusing stories with it. So yeah, I think the connection pillar, it's not my favorite one like you, but I like it. I like it too. So if you guys are listening in, if you guys are finding any value, if you can just tap that like button, love button, or whatever reaction you want. Yeah. Maybe you're not finding value, so give us a thumbs down. But I would love to hear, and I see you guys are in the comments, how do you feel like you have gone on the path of personal brand? What has your experience been? And second, if you haven't, what's been holding you back on going all in on your personal brand? So getting into some of these comments, how do you determine how personal to go with vulnerability? I have a boutique recruiting brand, but I'm also passionate about family, fitness, sports. Yeah, Adam, I mean, I think this is, you know, we kind of talked about it, but yeah, and I think you just pepper that in or make it part of your strategy. I don't know that there's like a magical formula where it's like, hey, post 3 of these, post 2 of those, and then post 1 connection piece. I do it as it shows up in my life. And what I try to do with my connection stuff is actually infuse it into a business story, infuse it into something that's going to show you, you know, a value, a belief of mine. You know, so yeah, like as a leader in your industry and market, I would actually find value in the fact that you're into fitness. That shows me that you're not only just a leader of your business, but you take care of your whole house, that you're into your family. Like, yeah, I would want to know that. You know, that's what people come on the calls with me. People know that I'm a, you know, a devoted family guy just because of the things that I post. People reference, you know, some of my, you know, kids' achievements because I'll share them and create stories in there. So, you know, I think if you're just going to post a picture of your cat sitting on the back of the couch, yeah, that's not what this is about. You know, but if you have a way to kind of infuse and incorporate some certain things that are going to make you real and authentic. Like I said, I don't know if there's a magical formula, but that's just kind of the way I think about it, is like, how can I, you know, share a story? And I'll be honest, I mean, for those of you who listen live, you'll see I'm posting, I've got a post coming out. My son Mason turns 11 today. And I'll post this on LinkedIn after this episode. And I'll tell you the angle that I'm going for, just so since we're having some fun, is it's the greatest title. Mason's my stepson. And one of the greatest titles, I get to be a CEO of a company. I get to be a coach. But my greatest title I always wear is being a husband and being a dad. And along with that is being a bonus dad. That's what we refer to our kids as bonus kids and bonus parents in our house. And Mason's given me that gift to be a bonus dad. And so of all the titles that I get to wear, being a bonus dad is one of them. And, I get to share my feelings around him. Thank you, Charlotte. But that's just kind of an idea of you guys get to see me as being a real person and being raw and vulnerable, which for some, it's going to build connection. Not all, but for some. And so that's kind of the idea. I don't know if that answers the question directly, Adam, but let me know if you have any follow-ups on that. Charlotte says, I've been sharing case studies from years in the industry. It creates interest. Make sure you understand them. Mm-hmm. Yep. Good feedback, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Love it. So let's keep tying this together here, Alexis. I mean, so you have the content, online is the place to be, but what are some of the practical steps that individuals can take to really kind of cultivate their online presence, particularly, if we were just going to dive in on just LinkedIn right now, mm-hmm. What should we be doing?
Yeah. So a few things. Number one is consistency. And I think that this is really where self-discipline comes in, because it's easy. Like you're talking about, like, it's Mason's birthday. You're going to talk about being a bonus dad and like what happens over the next couple of days when you're like, I don't know if I have anything today, or like, yep. I'm not really feeling like an authority today, or I don't have the energy to like serve. Like that's a non-negotiable. Like, great job deciding you want to build a personal brand. You have to make a choice to be consistent, right? Like life, as we know, those of us that want success in our life, is about making choices. Consistency is incredibly important in your marketing for multiple reasons, but you want to remain top of mind, and you want to make sure that you're, you'll talk about the LinkedIn algorithm, sure, a little bit, but you want to make sure that you're doing that. The other thing is you want to make sure that you're giving a variety of content. You got to think about your audience, right? Like, not everybody loves video. Not everybody loves posts. Not everybody loves graphics. And so ultimately what you want to be doing is hit those different modalities. So you want to be doing, I know this is real tough for people. You really do want to be doing video. Like, video's important. Copy is also important for those people that like to read things. Graphics for the people that are more visually stimulated, especially like PDF dwell posts too, right? Like that is nice to read. It also plays really well into the algorithm. I think one of the things that I do want to bring up on this note is that it's very easy to hide behind copy or written content. It's like, yes, I'm ready to build a personal brand. I'll post about some personal things, but I'm going to hide behind the wall of words, if you will, because we are putting ourselves out there. It's a great step, but it's not like really going all in on a personal brand. And I think that there is a difference there. And so that's why, like, I'm not even going to be like baby step into the copy. Like, if you want the personal brand, you really need to go all in on video, on copy, on different types of graphics. You really need to be consistent. And like you were talking about in response to Adam's question, it's not a serve, lead, connect. It's just not the way. That's a forced. And we are all about authenticity, right? But like, you want to have a variety of those things in your content in order to connect with your audience. What would you add about some of like the practical things that people can do specifically on LinkedIn or other social platforms?
Yeah, well, I think you hit on a lot of them. And I think that, consistency has to be a part of it. I think, just a drive home of, it's not something you put your toe in the water in. It's something you jump into. You have to go all in on it, like you were saying, Alexis. And I think I would just say, hey, like, go ahead and save yourself some time. If you're not going to jump in, then just don't do it, because it's going to be, it'll be a waste of your time. I mean, seriously, if you're not willing to just go for it, then you're probably just going to end up wasting a lot of time doing a lot of activities that aren't going to move the needle. Everything that we've laid out here for you, today is actually from, proven experience of me building my own personal brand, Alexis building her brand, but also, helping several hundred other folks do the same thing. And so, all of the things that are true, I think the video component is an absolute must. And the reason is because you can't duplicate that. You can't, you can't AI that. Well, I mean, guess technically you will be able to soon, but for people that are really into this and you're doing it for the right reasons, you're not looking to outsource or AI or you're looking to generally, stay, consistent to yourself and consistent to your brand. So Adam, consistent, yeah, daily would be it. But if you had to start somewhere, 3 days a week would be your kind of bare minimum, but yeah, daily. And it's one of those things, it's like, don't miss, just make the choice and then stay committed. And even if one day you're putting stuff out there that's just one sentence, don't miss, hold yourself to that level of accountability, because that's how it all starts to kind of build into wildfire. But, looking tactical on LinkedIn, the 3 things I'd recommend is, first, you have to, creating content without an audience is the biggest waste of time in the entire world. So you need to be proactively growing your LinkedIn network with the people that you want to consume your audience. It's one of the greatest things about LinkedIn. And so, and especially the way the algorithm is serving now is they're actually, and I know this sounds weird, but they're actually serving content to your first connections before they serve it to anybody else. And so if you have a good set of first connections, then you should be creating content ideally for that audience. And then, all those different, elements. And again, just like there's not like lead serve connect. It's also not like video text, PDF, video text, PDF. It's staying within, the flow of the platform and things like that. Now, one of the things that's really important, and I think very often overlooked with a personal brand, is the idea of brand is really to build relationships. And so part of your personal branding activity should actually be to reach out and support other people's personal branding efforts. And so you should be having a list of people that you can actually engage with, that first and foremost are your peers that you're just supporting along their journey. But second, and most importantly, your prospects. If your prospects are, doing any type of personal branding or any type of posting or creating content on LinkedIn, that's the easiest low-hanging fruit way to get yourself on the radar. And then in turn, they're going to have, some reciprocity to go engage with yourself, and the algorithm should show some stuff. But those are the things that I, would really recommend in addition to what Alexis said, is make sure you're stocking your pond with the ideal audience, making sure that you're creating your content for that ideal audience, but making sure that you're engaging with their stuff, not just being there for yourself. That's really going to show that you're genuinely interested in building relationships. So the next thing is, I want Alexis, if you can, just share like one of our customer success stories, if you will, on how the brand ultimately has been able to help them generate inbound leads. What are some of the key takeaways that you see from whoever you're going to share?
Okay. I think that one of my favorite success stories is with one of our clients who had never done any marketing before, but had so much charisma, was super magnetic, was very successful, and just had this like larger than life personality that was amazing. We created content for him, and his content was, don't you think like it embodied authenticity? If you know who I'm talking about right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 100%.
100%. If I was to like, if somebody was to ask me what is authenticity, I would be like, this is authenticity. This is one of our clients, because it was just so genuine. And he was terrified. Like everybody is, like very nervous, so afraid. He shared all these great stories. He talked about his mentors, which he got emotional doing. He talked about his values. He shared great advice for companies looking to scale to, to his sweet spot, basically. It was so well-rounded, and just truly, truly genuine. But the best part was you got a total experience of what it would be like to work with him and be a part of his world. Like, you could tell that he nurtures clients, that he really emphasizes relationships and like long-term relationships. And a lot of people say that, and I'm sure they do, but I'm not, from like a 1-minute video with him, you understood that. Like you could, his
Right.
values were clearly demonstrated, which was it's the power of video, right? And he
Right.
had his most successful quarter that he had in like 10 years, I think he told us, from one round of content. So, I mean, obviously we're here to get results for our clients. Like that's, and we know we do that. But I mean, the way in which you're able to do that through the authenticity and the vulnerability, he was just like such a prime example of that for what we do.
Yeah, knowing who you're talking about, I think the thing that really is, and I'm sure there's at least one, if not 10 of you, if not 100 of you listening right now that can align with this, but he is a true recruiting expert, but had no idea how to market himself.
Yeah.
And that's, once he understood how to build his personal brand, he already had all the knowledge here. And I know that there's a lot of you guys that really feel like you're great at what you do, but you're like, shoot, I just don't know how to do it. And that's exactly who this individual was, is a true expert recruiter who, through our guidance and help, was able to find his voice and build his personal brand. And it's really rewarding to be a part of. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the important thing for those that are listening, is that understanding that it doesn't need to take years. It doesn't need to be some hill you can't climb. You can get going on a strategy or a path to building a personal brand and see results from it, sooner than you would imagine. But that's really important, that you understand that, like, if you feel like you are the go-to, or you should be the go-to in the space, and you're frustrated because you're not, building a personal brand is going to help you truly stand out amongst your peers and competition, and really cut through the noise. So as we kind of wind this thing down here, Alexis, what's a step that somebody can take today to start building the brand? Like, we're just, all right, we've thrown a lot of high level stuff out there. Like, what's the one thing, like, hey, let's go take action on this today?
So I would love to get into like tactical, strategical stuff. That's where like my brain always goes, but you cannot do that without doing one thing first that I talk about a lot, but it's making the choice for what you want for your life long term. And I don't think, again, I can't be like, go create a post, like, it's not going to do anything if you don't make the decision that success is more important than your fears or hesitations. So ultimately, you may know where you want to scale your business to. You may know like what your next 3-5 years looks like in your trajectory of work. But I think personal branding is all about, yeah, you know what those things are, but like you're just going to be on the success ride. Like that is so important to you no matter where that's going to take you. And like, in order to do that, you cannot do that in this day and age without a personal brand, because it's an investment in your long-term future, even if you don't know exactly where that is. So for me, I'm sorry that I can't give strategy unless there's a decision and a choice to push aside any roadblock and to like go all in, not toe in like you talked about, all in.
Right.
Has to be a choice. So for me, that's it. Sorry, is that a disappointing answer?
No, I think that's great. I think that's straight fire. I think it's honest. I think it's the truth. And it's the most important part of this, is to make that decision, because if you want more, and you want more success, you want more recognition, you want more revenue, not having a personal brand is not an option. It is literally the vehicle to create endless opportunities for yourself in your life. And so, like Alexa said, you can either stay stuck in fear, okay, or you can go all in on it, because on the other side of it is stuff that will blow your mind. It's what it's done for me personally, to be able to be invited to be speaking on stages. I know that may not be a goal for some of you, but for me, it's something I've always envisioned. Why do I have that opportunity? Because of my personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to align myself with a company and brands like Forbes.jobs and, other, AFA, MRI, staffing associations and things like that for my personal brand, but also from able to generate clients and business and create a life for my family that we never have experienced before from a personal brand. So if you're looking to build a personal brand, if you're looking to generate inbound leads and invest in something that's more powerful than you can imagine, you want your expertise to show through, you want your value to show through, you want your authenticity to show through your personal brand and through your content, then I invite you to book a call with us today. And you can explore how we've been helping recruiters develop a personal brand that drives inbound leads, that creates crazy opportunities for them, that creates record revenue numbers for them. But most importantly, it's done for you with only an hour of your effort per month, while we can take your brilliance combined with our unique branding framework and have you go out there and build your personal brand on your behalf so that you can stay focused in your zone of genius. If you're into that and you want to explore about that, there's absolutely no risk for you to explore this. You hop on a call with us, we see, what's going on with your business. And if we feel like we can truly help you out, we will share with you more about our content conversion system. We're so confident in it that we guarantee the results. So that's why there's absolutely no risk for you to have a call. There's no risk even for you to try working with us and allowing us to help you build your personal brand. So if that's you, drop a comment below and I'll reach out to you. Send me or Alexis direct message here on LinkedIn, or I'll drop my link. Just go to donniegupton.com/calendar. I'll drop that link. You can book a call anytime, but make the decision first that you're ready for a new life, that you're ready for more impact. That's all we have for you today. Alexis, thank you so much for showing up with me. Yes, and hope you guys found value in this. If you did, click those like buttons. But most importantly, if you want to explore the best version of yourself, set up a time to talk with Alexis and I. You guys have a great rest of your week. Go win, and I will see you next week. Talk to you soon.
Bye, you guys.